Okay, picture this. You're sitting in the exam hall. You've just spent 5 minutes battling through a massive, multi-step calculation. You've navigated the formulas, you've crunched the numbers, and you're staring at this long string of digits on your calculator. You write down your final answer, breathe a massive sigh of relief, and just move on. But then, results day rolls around, and you realize you dropped the final mark on that exact question. Why? Literally just because of bad rounding. It is incredibly frustrating, and you know it happens to thousands of GCSE students every single year.
Welcome to the Max Marks Playbook. Today we're diving into an explainer on a concept that is essentially the ultimate cheat code for securing your target grades, significant figures. We're going to build a foolproof GCSE study guide right here so you can stop dropping those easy marks and absolutely guarantee maximum points on your math papers. Here's the syllabus for today's explainer. 1. What are significant figures? 2. The rules of rounding. 3. Decimals versus significant figures. 4. Avoiding common exam mistakes. And 5. Our top hacks for maximum marks. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. What are significant figures?
So, what's the actual golden rule here? Well, to find your very first significant figure, you always read the number from left to right. You're basically hunting for the biggest place value that has a non-zero digit. If you start scanning from the left and the first number you hit is a 3, boom, that is your first significant figure. It really doesn't matter if there's a decimal point later on down the line, you just scan left to right until you hit a number that isn't 0.
Let's think about how this works in practice with tricky zeros. Take the number 0.006207. Scanning left to right, we pass a 0, a decimal point, and then 2 more zeros, right? None of those are significant. The very first significant figure is that 6. But what about the zeros that come after it? Well, any 0 that is trapped between other non-zero digits absolutely counts. So that 0 sitting right between the 2 and the 7, that one is significant. Just remember, leading zeros are completely ignored, but trapped zeros are always significant.
Moving on to Section 2, the rules of rounding.
Okay, let's turn this into a foolproof 4-step execution plan. Step 1. Find that first non-zero digit by scanning left to right. Step 2. Count along to the right until you hit your target significant figure, maybe the second or third one. Step 3. Draw a line after that target digit and circle the very next number to the right. That circled number, that's your decider digit. If it's a 5 or more, you round your target digit up. Less than 5, just leave it alone. Finally, Step 4, round the number and fill in the rest of the spaces up to the decimal point with place-holding zeros. Honestly, examiners love to see you mentally or even physically on the paper, underlining and circling these digits.
Let's apply this algorithm to some real exam numbers. Say we have 41,982, and we need to round it to one significant figure. The first non-zero is 4. The next digit is a 1, so we don't round up. The answer simply becomes 40,000. And hey, those zeros are vital placeholders. Now let's take 84,472 and round it to 3 significant figures. The third significant figure is the 4 in the hundreds column. The decider digit right next to it is a 7, which means we have to round that 4 up to a 5, giving us a final answer of 84,500.
Up next, Section 3, Decimals v. Significant Figures. Now, mixing up decimal places and significant figures is a classic trap. Decimal places strictly starts counting digits immediately after the decimal point. But significant figures, that starts counting from the first non-zero digit, which could be way over to the left of the decimal point. Let's put this into perspective. For the number 704.539, rounding to 2 decimal places gives you 704.54. But rounding that exact same number to 2 significant figures, that gives you 700. They are entirely different instructions, and answering one when the examiner asks for the other is definitely going to cost you points.
Which brings us to Section 4, avoiding common exam mistakes.
Let's talk about the 2 most devastating rounding errors that steal points every single year. The first massive mistake is rounding your intermediate steps in a long calculation just to make your working look neat. If you round halfway through, you lose accuracy, and your final multi-mark answer will be completely wrong. So do this instead. Keep the exact precision in your calculator until the very final line of working. The second major trap is rounding in stages. Imagine you need to round 14,489 to 2 significant figures. Some students will round it to 14,490, then up to 14,500, and finally push that up to 15,000. No way! That is entirely wrong. You must round in one single step from the original number. The second significant figure in 14,489 is the first 4. The next digit is a 4, so it stays as a 4. The correct answer is just 14,000.
But what if the exam question doesn't tell you how to round at all? Well, that brings us to the magic number 3. If an exam question gives you a calculation but does not specifically state the required degree of accuracy, you should always default to rounding your final answer to 3 significant figures. Just a quick pro tip though, remember to show you're working correct to at least 4 significant figures before writing down that final 3 significant figure answer.
Finally, Section 5, Hacks for Maximum Marks.
All right, here are your ultimate cheat codes for the exam room. First, always physically underline the first significant digit on your paper to check your work. It literally forces you to pause and verify. Second, never forget to use zeros as placeholders up to the decimal point, because without them, 345,000 becomes 345, completely changing the scale of the number. Third, keep exact values like fractions or unrounded decimals in your calculator memory until the very last step. And finally, always reread the required accuracy at the end of the question before you put your pen down. Did they ask for significant figures or decimal places? Check it twice.
So, the only question left is, are you ready to walk into that exam hall and secure those final marks? Remember, precision is power, and bad rounding should never ever steal a grade from you again. If you found this explainer helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more focused GCSE study hacks. See you next time, and happy studying!